I think people get weirded out by disability for some reason, when in reality, I'm just like everyone else. And I just wish people would understand that and realize that.
What is your disability?
I have spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA for short, and I have type 2. I am a fully dependent person, so basically everything that I do during the day I need help with, such as getting a drink, being fed, getting out of bed, and things like that. Basically, my muscles are deteriorating over time. So as I get older, my muscles get a lot weaker. And so basically, I like to explain it like, because people ask me all the time, what is it like having your disability? I say, okay, go home, alright, go lay in bed, okay, and don't move at all, whatsoever. Even if you have an itch, don't move. And that's kind of how I explain it every time. So basically, I can't really turn my head so much, so I told Mr. Chris here that instead of giving him a side eye like this, I told him that I would just look at his face through the camera. So that's what we are doing.
We have a TV right here where we can see each other.
Exactly.
So right now I'm looking right at you and you're looking right at me.
I'm looking right at you.
Technology is a fascinating thing.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
Great. Most people think that I, am unable to hold conversation, make conversation just by the way that I look. And the old saying goes, don't judge a book by its cover. I think that is so important to do when you interact with someone that may look different. Don't jump to assumptions, you know what I mean?
I noticed that you keep your hand right there. Is that to support your head?
Dude, that is a great idea. Great idea. I got mixed up. A great question. So my hand, I use it for a lot of things actually. It's so crazy that you asked that. I don't really get asked that very often. I use it for my head control, yes, but also whenever my hand isn't under my chin, my speech gets a lot more slurred and a lot more unintelligible in a way. So whenever I'm talking, I'm using my hand to like move my jaw so words don't sound so unintelligible. Also, it helps me to chew my food. So I'm able to eat. I use my hand right here to chew food.
Is that something you learned through speech therapy, or did you just kind of figure it out?
I just kind of figured it out. When I was in middle school, I told you that I started to lose abilities, in the start of high school. So whenever I was eating, I would notice that whenever my hand was under my chin, I could eat a lot faster and a lot easier. And so I just started doing that every time I ate or every time I talked, man. It just kind of was something that I learned on my own. Once people start communicating with me, I think that's when they start realizing that I am kind of average. But just by people looking at me, I don't get that they think that I'm average at all whatsoever. So let's say that I'm out eating somewhere, right? And a waiter comes up to me. Instead of asking me what I want to eat, they ask whoever I'm with instead. I guess they think that I can't communicate myself. And then once I make the initiative of telling them my order instead of letting whoever I'm with tell the order, that's when they realize, okay, maybe he is kind of average, alright. And then from then on, it's kind of normal from there. I sometimes feel like I am a very boring person, man. I don't know if being me would be a lot of fun. I kind of live just this average life. I do average things.
Dude, I gotta interject here.
Go for it.
I'm interjecting. I feel like you deal with so much of people not assuming you're a person who has thoughts and they treat you like a kid that you feel like you have to overcompensate and say you're average.
I feel like you're probably right, yes.
I don't feel like I feel like you're a really cool dude, man. Like, average makes me feel like boring. I don't feel like you're boring.
Right, well, I look at myself as boring, but I know from people looking in, maybe I'm not boring, I just feel like I am boring, only because I have this routine that I do every day, man, you know, and, now granted, I do have fun, yes, but, for the most part, it's, I do the same thing every day.
Is it okay if I ask you questions about your nurse and what she helps you out with?
Absolutely, go for it.
Tell me all about your nurse.
So, my nurses, actually, because I have 4. I have 2 nighttime nurses, caregivers, and then 2 daytime nurses. And basically, they are my independence, man. I moved out of my mom's house when I was about 18. And so without them, I would not be able to live by myself, man. And so they are my world. They mean everything to me. Because without them, I wouldn't be able to be sitting here right now in my own place. Love them. I think it just takes the initial, yo, what's up? That's all it takes, man. That's all it takes. It only takes you going up to somebody with a disability like myself and just saying hi. That's it, man. That is all it takes for me.
If you had to put yourself into a high school stereotype, popular, jock, whatever, what would you be?
What would I be? Well, I would be the class clown. I know I would be, because that's what I was when I was in high school. I always put up with people, always was making jokes, always kind of pseudo getting in trouble by teachers, but not really, because they didn't know how to act toward me.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, the disability thing, man, like they see my disability and automatically assume that I shouldn't get in trouble for things that I do. And so in high school, I took so advantage of that, and I know that's not good, but I did, man. And so yeah, I was the major class clown, man.
Did you get a kick out of the teachers not knowing if they should discipline you or not?
I thought it was very funny, yes, and I knew it in high school that I could probably get away with a little bit more than my classmates, and I did. I so did, man.
I feel like you have a morbid sense of humor.
You don't even know the half of it, man. I have such a morbid sense of humor. It's not even funny, dude. It's not even funny.
So do you have to like kind of censor yourself when you're doing it?
Absolutely, dude. I'm having to censor myself right now. So I cuss, man. Okay, I don't cuss bad, but I do cuss. But when I'm on video or when I'm hanging out with my friends, I like to keep it PG-13. You know what I mean? And that's fine. I don't mind doing that at all. Laughing is very important, I think.
Why do you think laughing is important?
I think laughing is important to kind of free yourself of concern. Whenever you're laughing, you're not concerned about anything at all whatsoever. And I think it's an awesome therapy in a way. Somebody wants to be my friend, man. It doesn't take much. Let me tell you, I'm a very friendly person. All it takes is someone saying hi, initiating a conversation, and if we vibe together, because some people don't vibe with everybody. You know what I mean? It's just human nature. You just simply can't get along with everybody in the world, right? So if we vibe with each other, hey, it's done, man. We are already lifelong friends, bro. Lifelong friends.
You Gen Zs and this word vibe.
Right.
So explain to a man in his mid-30s what vibe means.
So vibe to me just means that y'all are connecting with each other. Y'all are getting along just fine. Y'all are conversing, and it's natural.
What are some of your favorite things to do?
Oh man, I enjoy nightlife a lot. I am a night person. I do a lot of my work and school during the day, and then so I like to have fun at night.
So are you able to go somewhere without planning? Like, can your buddy hit you up and be like, hey, we heard of this new bar?
Absolutely not, no. Everything that I do that involves going out into out and about into the world takes so much planning and thinking ahead. Like, okay, is this spot that we're going to accessible? Okay, am I even going to be able to get into this spot? And that's pretty much everywhere I go. I have to keep that in the back of my mind always.
Does that impact the way those close to you interact with you and invite you out to events?
I think it could, yes. I think it can, yeah. Because I think, let's say that, somebody wants to hang out, and in their mind they're like, okay, I'm gonna test Aaron, and I'm gonna see if he wants to hang out. But in their mind they're like, well, maybe he can't go. Maybe he can't even go due to accessibility issues. So therefore, I'm not even gonna ask, right? I'm sure that happens a lot. Inclusion, I think it's so important, man.
How would you define inclusion?
Inclusion, I think, is... so let's say that you're doing an activity at school, right? And so instead of putting a set of kids that have disabilities to decide to do said project or activity, you include those people with disabilities with all of the other classmates to do the same activity. That's what I would consider inclusion. Just including people like me and people with disabilities into the conversation.
In a situation where somebody wants to invite you out, but then they don't because they're not sure if the environment would be accessible, who do you place blame on there?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that is I think when it gets down to it, it's obviously not their fault. Obviously, I think it's more of a societal thing. When it comes down to it, I think it's just I think the blame should be put on societal stigmas, man.
Off camera, we discussed a plant that you like to use for medicinal purposes that can also be used for recreational purposes. And I'm not going to use the exact word because it can trigger the algorithm unless people will see this video. But I think our audience can pick up on the context of what we're talking about. Can you discuss that plant and how you use it and how it benefits you?
Yeah, I have used that plant for a very long time now. I contribute using that plant for my quality of life, man. I'm not a big fan of medications. I would like to take as many less medications as I possibly can. And so I think that has been a great driving force in my quality of life, man. I really do.
That's great, and I think it's funny that we can't use the word out of fear of the algorithm.
Out of fear.
Have you ever had to face any other type of stigma because of your use of this medication?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Actually, kind of piggybacking back on the algorithm thing, my Instagram used to be mainly geared towards the use of that plant. And actually, I was given kind of an ultimatum of, you can keep posting about this because I'm a huge advocate for it, man. And I advocated for it a lot on my Instagram. And I actually feared of losing my Instagram because of the stigma around it. Instagram started deleting my posts and pictures, and ultimately told me that if I kept posting about it, then I would lose my Instagram. So I actually had to censor myself on Instagram for in sheer fear of losing my platform.
Well, I want to go on record and say that that is silly, that people should be able to discuss these matters openly. Will you go into more depth about how it does improve your quality of life?
Well, so, I have a very bad, nerve pain in my right leg. And so, they tried to put me on opioids back when I was in high school and stuff like that, like pain pills. And I despise those things. If I feel as if I don't have to use them, then why use them? If there is something natural out there that helps me, why not just use that instead? And so that's what I've done.
Is that an easy medicine to access here in where you live?
Not really. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all whatsoever, no.
What message would you have to people who can enforce regulation like that and make it easier for people to access?
I think people should at least understand that this plant has grave medicinal uses. I think it can help people in so many different ways that's incomprehensible. And I think, our legislators need to go with the times and understand that it does help people in a lot of ways. And if they don't want to make it recreational, that's okay. But at least make it medicinal, at least. Once you find out that somebody uses this plant, whether it be recreationally or medicinally, don't let that change your view about that person.
Has that happened to you?
I don't know if it has explicitly happened to me. I've just kind of picked up the vibe that it does affect the way people think about you, only because, a conversation can be going a certain way, great, and then I mention, that I do use that, and then they just kind of act repulsed in a way, like it's a bad thing, and when in reality it's just like a medication, like any other medication.
So to put it in Gen Z terms, you were vibing with the person, you mentioned this plant, and then you weren't vibing.
Exactly, yes. Their whole thought process changed, yes.
All these kids are gonna think I'm cool now that I am speaking this lingo.
I think you're very cool, Chris.
You're gonna be my Gen Z consultant.
I'm down for that.
How can I bring SBSK to Gen Z? Should during the video I just...
I think that'll be okay. You might lose some subscribers for that. I don't know though, Chris.
I don't think I could do that. My heart won't let me.
Oh man.
Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I have to stay true to me.
Absolutely, always.
Why is that important to you?
Why is it important to stay true to yourself?
Yeah.
I think that is important because I think so many people nowadays try to please other people instead of pleasing themselves. And I think it's very important to stay true to yourself, for the simple fact of staying true.
If you could send a message to the entire world, what would it be?
if I could send a message to the entire world, what would it be? Go after your dreams, man. Don't let things hold you back from doing whatever it is that you want to do. Even if you do have limitations, man, go after your dreams anyways, man.
What would you say is the best thing about being you?
The best thing about being me, man, I am a very goal-oriented person, and I like to view myself as I'm very driven, and I take pride in that, man. I love the fact about myself that I'm a very driven individual. I think if you put your mind to it, no matter what situation you're in, I think you can accomplish anything that you want, man. So go after your dreams, man. Do it. Don't stop. Just do it.
Are you going after a dream right now?
I am going after a dream right now, and that's school and becoming a programmer. That is what I wanted to do in high school, man. I knew in high school, right when I started high school, that I would eventually go to school for programming and eventually, ultimately, be a programmer down the road. And I'm doing that right now, man. I love it. I'm so happy for myself.
When someone's greeting you, do you want them just to stand where they are, or do you want them to get on your eye level? What's the best way to do that?
Dude, that is such a great question, man. For me, personally, I would rather someone get down on kind of like you're doing a squat, just to get on my eye level. That way I'm not having to do this in order to look at you.
Has your disability progressed, or was it always to the level it is now?
It has progressed, yes. When I was a kid, I could somewhat move my arms, pick my hands up to my face and give myself a drink and feed myself and things like that. Whereas now, in high school, I started losing those abilities to do that. So it's a very slow progression, but it does progress.
What advice would you have to a kid with SMA who's experiencing that loss of muscle for the first time?
I would say kind of what I told myself in a way was, you will figure it out, man. It's hard. I understand it's frustrating, yes, but instead of using your time to dwell on the things that you are losing, focus on the things that you do still have, right? And focus on how to adapt. I know it sounds kind of crazy of me to say, but having SMA in a way has made me who I am today. So I couldn't even imagine myself without having SMA. It's like if I didn't have SMA, would I even be the same person that I am today? Maybe not. Who knows? And so I think if you were to ask other people about their SMA, a lot of people look at negatives when it comes to disability, and I think that's kind of the wrong way to look at things, man. I think that's the wrong thing to look at things. I think SMA has... Yes, my SMA has limited me over the years, over my life. But it's also brought me a lot of good things as well. A lot of good things.
If somebody wants to follow you, what's the best way they can do that?
Well, they can follow me on... I have a YouTube channel. She'll probably put the link to it or something.
Yeah, I'll put the link. You can go and click on below in the description and follow him there.
Absolutely. And then also my Instagram, man. I have so many disabled friends on my Instagram, and I love meeting new people on there. and you can add me on there as well.
Thanks for watching SBSK. Click subscribe here to be part of our community. Then hit the notification bell below so you never miss a story. You can even meet another friend here. See you next time.